Hello, everyone. Welcome to Awakened Healing with me, your host, Sheree Beckman. I am so excited that you are here today and to share this episode with me, or really for me to share this episode with you. It's mutual, I'm sure. But I I do. I'm really excited to get this season started. And this is a season, honestly, that feels like it's been coming for a very long time. It is this new phase and this new transition, not only in the podcast, but within my purposeful work also. We're in season 5 as we began as a different name for the podcast and transitioning into who we are now. And I say we, including Copper, my producer. She is the backbone of this entire podcast. And we'll have her on here and there throughout the season. You get to see her amazing face and hear her funny wisdom and everything that she has to share. But she is the one that makes sure that I at least sound somewhat professional when putting these out into the world. Uh, I am human. I make mistakes. I stutter. I stumble. And I like to say, more than I should sometimes. It's gotten better. Anyway, I want to get into what we're going to talk about this season. So, this season, I'm going to talk about something that I have learned very recently. It is about a word or a term that I learned recently. However, the meaning behind it has been with me for this entirety of where I've started this work, or honestly, since I started my awakening process and in my healing journey. So, this season, I want to talk about the power each of us hold in creating great change. Yes. It is something that has taken a long time for me to understand from back when, back when I always say like there's that pre-life for me, that pre-awakening time, and then there's this time. So that pre-awakening time for myself, I used to wish for an easier life. I have my own background of trauma. I have my own background of hardships, and just like each and every single one of you have. We all have something. And for so long, I wished that things were easier. I wish that people that surrounded me were stronger, or I wish for peace. I did. Just like honestly, it reminds me of a Sandra Bullock movie, Miss Congeniality. I wish for world peace. I did. And honestly, I still do. But it has a different meaning for me now, that wish. Because back then, I really, really wished for people to respect and accept one another for their differences. Why were we battling each other? Why were people forcing their beliefs on others? And if you didn't believe it or didn't conform to a certain category, you were shunned, or you were the one that was deemed indifferent or unworthy. Well, I would become so upset at times, wondering why the world wouldn't change for the better. Honestly, it only seemed to be getting worse. And when that happened, I went further and further inside and getting into that victim mode, and it would deteriorate my own self esteem and my self worthiness. A lot's changed. So let's fast forward a little bit. So let's go here what's been going on recently for me, because I like to give you some of my experiences just to correlate and for you to understand that you're not alone. While my circumstances or my stories might be a little different, I also know that there's a meaning behind it that connects us all. So, for the past 5 months, I've been doing this rebranding, the rebranding of my business, bringing to you this new phase of podcast, here on YouTube and out in the world with my name associated to it. So, this has been a very transformative experience for myself. This has not just been about what I wanted for my business or what I wanted it to become, it's been mostly about who I wanted to become. because that's what it's about. I created this purposeful work, but it's an extension of myself. It is about my journey and it's about sharing that. It is about helping others through the hardships that I've been through or that I've witnessed others go through. So during this time of trying to figure out of what I wanted or how would I describe it and where I wanted it to go, I really, really struggled on this whole title of what I wanted to call myself, who I am, what's the website going to be called, what's the new podcast going to be called, because I was trying to create this name. And of course, during the first episode or in the trailer, you heard the whole my reasoning behind that. I was hiding behind a title. I'm not doing it no more. Now you get me. It's just Shuri. But there was more to it. Even though it is a part of me and my name, I needed another word to describe what I am doing. Because while I am Shuri Buckman and I'm here and I love to inspire others through my journey and to be that inspirational speaker and to be a self-healing guide in doing all of these beautiful pieces. But how do you describe it? How in the world can you describe it without all of those words? Well, I put it out in the universe. I prayed and I asked for guidance for the words to describe it. And boy, did they deliver. They did. Because just within a couple of days, I was doing a daily thing for myself. Well, most days. I have my favorite oracle deck that I like to choose from. It's the self-healing deck and it's beautiful. It's all positivity and great words. And I was going through it and I set the intention too of asking kind of the same question to give me guidance in this. And I selected a card I had never selected before. Not once, but I pulled it several times in a row. I'm not kidding. I'm getting chills right now describing it. Oh, sorry, it was a big wave. Oh, lots of chills, but I did. And that's why it was such a big word. I paid attention because it hit me. It hit me like a ton of bricks in the most powerful and beautiful way because I felt it. Because the word, well, let me not keep you in suspense, although I'm sure you know what it is from the title of this episode, but it was microcosm. Honestly, I had never heard this word before. And it's interesting because I told my husband all about this and he was like, "You've never heard that before?" No, I did not. Anyway, I looked into it and after reading the guidebook that goes with my oracle cards, I was humbled by the whole meaning behind it. And it brought me to tears because it described everything that I felt and that I was trying to do. And so as we get into this, within this episode, I want to describe what this word is and the meaning behind it. But to me, I'm breaking it into two pieces. I want to tell you a little bit more about the internet search of it, of what microcosm means. But then I want to tell you about what I feel it means. It comes from the parts of the guidebook, but also going deeper into I guess, my interpretation of it or my perception of it. And we'll get there. So let's start with, I guess, more of the literal sense of the word of the internet search, microcosm. Because this word actually originates from the Greek mikros cosmos, which actually means little universe or little world. So essentially, it represents that every human is the embodiment of the universe in miniature form. I love that. I'm sorry. And I have to say that again, because this time when I say it, I want you to hear it and feel it at the same time because it has a big impact on me. Not to say that it's going to have a big impact on you because we're all different and we're all going through different things. But I do feel so inclined to try to get you to pay attention to this. Let me say it again. Microcosm essentially represents that every human is the embodiment of the universe in miniature form. That's right. It is about each of us holding the universe within ourselves And it's interesting because our body is literally constructed from stardust from the cosmos, even from the Big Bang. That is the same material that the universe as we know it was formed. That's amazing. To me, it's amazing. I don't know about you. You probably already know this. And honestly, I did too. But hearing this in this, I guess, aspect or in this way and during this time, it has so much more. And I'm about to connect it with the stories that I already told you earlier because there is a major connection here. Because this actually means that we are far more connected than you may have imagined. We are made from the same thing. We are the universe in miniature form, meaning we have all the answers within us that we have ever sought after. But we have all gone through and created these bad habits of seeking answers and worthiness and self esteem and all those other things from people around us. And while we are using the ego part of ourselves to seek these answers, you're going to find, usually, you're going to find answers that don't feel so aligned with yourself because we are seeking outside. So, also with this being said, that whatever is happening in the universe at large is also happening within each one of us. And honestly, that is such a big piece because we are so connected, not even just made from the same substance, but we are all, again, in my beliefs and perception, that we are all linked because we are all created by the same light. It is the same, we are created by soul. I'm sorry, we all have a soul, right? We are souls having this human experience, but we're all made again from the same thing that lives on past our human experience because we are all linked in there, that energy that brings us together. And so, truly, I love this word because it is about recognizing the dynamic relationship existing between ourselves and all that surrounds us. A butterfly effect. So, right here, this is actually leading me into where I feel a lot of like a deeper meaning to this word and how it connects more into what I was seeking, into my purposeful work, into what this podcast, what I want it to be about. And I like to call it the microcosmic healing because this is about understanding healing on a deeper level. It is about understanding how connected we are. It is about our actions, our words, our thoughts, no matter how small, actually create ripples that reach far beyond this world. Now, let me back that up for a minute, because even though absolutely true that these ripples go past and all the way out into the universe, let's bring it back into this miniature place for a minute, right? Because that's what microcosm actually means. And so I want to grow this little universe out piece by piece because we have that piece within us, right? So we have the universe within us. We have the answers. We have all of this knowledge within us, knowing how to tap into it, which comes into we go further into that in later episodes. But for the moment, I want you to think about how we affect the world around us, just as I was explaining earlier and how the world had affected me or affects us from our interactions and our experiences and the people around us and the stories we hear from the news, all of it. But we need to take a look and take the perspective in it and seeing how we are interacting with the world because it is our actions, our words, and our thoughts, no matter how small, affect even the people closest to us, because that's where it begins. Not only does it affect ourselves, right? We're going to start internally with ourselves by our own thoughts, okay? Our own actions and our words, because it is going to affect us first. Because it's the way that we are thinking. If we are thinking negatively, it does something to our energy. It affects our vibration and our frequencies, which again, we go further into later this season. And then it projects outward. Because once we start projecting it outward, because we are so connected, those around us feel that energy. They feel our negative thoughts or our turmoil or our joy, our happiness. They feel it. And so when we express it into words or into actions, all of it is felt by the people around us. So, for instance, think about it. You are frustrated or angry, and maybe it's about work or it doesn't matter what it is. You're getting frustrated and angry. And instead of taking a minute and removing yourself and calming yourself down, you have an outburst, right? You yell and you put it on someone that's closest to you. That person closest to you now feels it. And not only that, the ones who heard it around you, they are affected by, possibly even triggered by, because it's their own personal things and it brought up a trigger. Well, now these people have this energy that you just projected, and now it's in them. And now it builds up in them because they may have been happy one moment, and now all of this anger and frustration was projected onto them, and now they're feeling it. And then they're going about their day, and then they wind up again, another, whether it's an outburst or other words or actions that betray those feelings, and it's a trickle effect, and it keeps going on and it keeps going on. And these are how these ripples, right? This butterfly effect expands out and out and out because it keeps going and going until someone takes the accountability and responsibility to stop it. And to me, this is what microcosmic healing is about. It is about understanding that as our even negative output that we put into the world affects them and affects the world around us, our healing can cause the same effect. Our healing can. We have the power to inspire great change just by focusing on our own journeys. And I'm talking specifically our own healing journeys. So when we take that moment and we stop for, just like when I was talking about earlier in my pre-awakened life, where I used to wish that things would change around me. I used to wish that people would respect others and I could be around more positivity in those things. But until I took the responsibility upon myself to start projecting it, again, I had to start internally. This isn't just an overnight thing. This is part of that awakened healing journey. It's about taking that responsibility. It is about understanding where you are and your thoughts and how you think and what you project out into the world. And when you can go in and adjust and find a more positive note in how to treat yourself with self love, with respect, then you can portray that out into the world by offering, again, more love and respect to others. And then they take that and they see, well, man, that really felt good. I didn't even think about that because most people don't understand the change around them until they are affected by it. So when you can stop the argument or when you can stop that negative behavior and change it by projecting something more positive, it's not going to stop. You have the power. You have the power to create a world, a life that you have dreamt about. By taking small, brave steps, not only will you heal your own soul, but you light the path for others around you to follow. It is like that old saying that parents have used to say, do as I say, not as I do. But we all learn from example. We all learn by watching the people around us. So if you want the world to change and you want more positivity and you don't want to hear about all the negativity in the world, start with your own self because it's the only place that we have control over. We have control over ourselves. And it doesn't matter If you were just learning this and you're saying, man, I wish I would have known this sooner. Or maybe you've already been doing it, man. I wish I could have shown a better version of me so I could have taught my children how to get through these things. Everything that happened was meant to be because every trauma I have been through, every hardship I have been through created who I am today. And it created who you are now. Bringing you to a place where you're able to see this, bringing you to a place where you can start to comprehend and see a bigger perspective. So now, only right now in the present is the only thing we can control. So right now, decide and choose to be an inspiration and to do the hard and brave things to heal yourself because it does. It takes courage. It is not easy facing those inner demons and all of those things, which we are going to get in depth over this season. We're going to go. And you can do it. You are all strong enough, but you have to find that strength and you have to tap in deep and not listen to everything that you've collected throughout your lifetime. It's listening to, again, that part the part that you were connected to the universe, to the bigger picture that actually knows what you're capable of. This is how we inspire others. Let's stop waiting to be saved and instead let's be the catalyst for great change. This has been my choice and my journey. And I am with you every step of the way because it's not easy. You have to know that you are not alone. There are people out there that are on this journey with you. And the more that you are aligning yourself in it, and the more that you start putting that positivity or whatever you truly feel out into the world, you start aligning and it will follow you. It will find you. You will find your people. And I hope by sharing this word, or maybe even just the reminder of this word for those of you who have heard the term, I hope it helps. I hope it brings you here and inspires you a little bit that everything you're doing great. You are doing great. We are doing great. It has been a joy. And thank you so much for joining me today. And until next time, you beautiful souls, be kind to yourself.